this season.
It's time. We get to the most exciting team in the AFC West, in the NFL, in the galaxy. It is the reigning,
He skipped the world.
defending champions of the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Three Pete,
It's
It's
time for a
coming.
three-peat. And the
Pete,
team has only
repeat,
gotten better. The team has only gotten better.
repeat.
Patrick Mahomes has the stability of an offensive line. He has the stability of wide receivers. We just made a fantastic move today. Juju Smith-Schuster is back as a Kansas City Chief.
We made it an even better move after that. We cut Kadarius Toney.
That is the best move of all. We made not so good move of keeping Sky Moore and McCole Hardman.
Consistency there, man.
You personally, Ty Bob, you really that excited about signing Juju? Because
No,
I didn't think you were a big fan of the guy.
I I I was a big fan when he was here. I love
Shut your
Juju
mouth.
Smith Schuster. I was a fan of when he was here.
Pull the tape.
I wasn't a fan of signing him at the time, but I was a big fan after he got here. He changed my mind. I'm not a fan of him for a couple of reasons coming back. Not that I don't think that he can't help this team, but he's got the knee injury. Is it better? Or are we looking at a knee that's going to explode at any point in time, like the Patriots front office has been saying the entirety of the last 12 plus months? Like, is that going to happen? Because if that happens, now we're down a roster spot. We could have kept a guy like Justin Ross, or I mean, who knows? I would have liked to have kept Justin Ross specifically, but you have Juju, and he's not going to be playing any special teams like Justin Ross could. Is he going to be healthy? I don't know if he will be. That's a big question mark right there. He's going to bring a big presence to the locker room, mainly to that wide receiver room, to help out Rasheed and Sky and McCole. But I don't, and Xavier Worthy, but I don't know if this doesn't move the needle for me. I don't know if it really does anything for the team.
I think he does a lot for the team, actually. He's not going to be the number one wide receiver coming into this year like he was whenever he was with us the first time. He's going to be able to get a lot of the underneath routes, open up the deep shots to Xavier Worthy, to everybody else out there. It's going to help us out a lot more than you think. He's going to be a number four wide receiver on our depth
Do
chart,
you
number
think
three
he's
maybe.
healthy enough to take all those snaps? That's the question. Is if he's
Do
healthy
you
enough,
realize
I
how
have
many times we switch out receivers in there, especially if they're the four or the five receiver?
no. That's
He's
fine.
not going to be
You
playing
think
that
he's
much.
healthy enough to actually step foot on the field? The reason he didn't step foot on the field last year is because the Patriots thought his knee was literally going to explode.
He'd still play.
You got that like in a quote or something. Oh, look at him going to work. Shit. Well, I for this move to be considered successful in my point of view, he doesn't even have to come close to his production a couple years ago with us. He was pushing 1,000 yards. I think if he's an available option, like if we don't have to worry about this knee, and even if it was just like we gave you a shot and like it didn't work out, he's the vet minimum deal, right? Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
doesn't affect us money wise in any way. So
Well, we had low cap space already, but I'll go to that quote here. It came from Albert Breer, uh, from Sports Illustrated. Quote: He called Juju Smith-Schuster's knee a mess and said it could quote explode at any point. End quote.
And yet he still played 11 games last year.
But he also he may have played in 11 games, but I would question on how many snaps he had because if you played, you technically suited up. He had his second lowest receiving totals, 29 receptions for 260 yards, and he missed.
And
I
Mac
mean,
Jones was his quarterback. Did any quarterback in New England look
he was
any good
non-existent
last year?
in that offense for like 75% of that season. Like I
They
think
didn't have an offense for 75% of the season.
he played like bits and pieces here and there as far as like actually getting reps, but I know Demario Douglas and before he got hurt, Kendrick Bourne were dominating a lot of the looks in that offense. So, uh, regardless, if he can if he can just be like somewhat of a reliable option, like just a someone that actually plays this season, I think it's going to work in the offense. Um, because can I can we get a slight update on Rasheed Rice's any possible suspension
There's no
situation?
update. Do not expect a suspension to come for Rasheed Rice in the 2024-2025 season. His court
Because
date is not
okay,
until December. The NFL is notorious for not doing anything until either criminal or civil actions have taken place through the court. The first date is, I believe, like mid to late December, if I remember the date correctly.
because
Uh,
we can all say that without Rasheed Rice, it would look fairly bleak.
yes, I
No
would agree.
Hollywood Brown to start the season. No Rasheed Rice. We would be in some shit.
From all reports that came from inside the building, obviously not to myself, but other reporters that we've been reading from, they have been stating that this has nothing to do with Rasheed Rice or any injuries, anything like that. Matt Nagy actually vied for them to bring him back last year and really hard this year. So they ended up pulling the trigger this year when he became available and just did so. It has nothing to do with Rasheed Rice or any other situations. Rasheed Rice don't even expect his court date in December
Well,
to take
I'm
place.
just saying. Regardless, we bringing him in is not a is a good idea because they're like nothing on the back end there. Like we don't know if Xavier Worthy is going to be what we want him to be, and not having a Hollywood Brown or Rasheed. Like I understand we're gonna have him this season. Like who's after that on the roster in the wide receiver room? Like that Juju being on the roster and hopefully playing is going to be a good thing for us.
As long as he's healthy, I'm totally fine with it. If that and that's just where my apprehension is. If he's healthy, I'm really okay with him coming back. Let's get to the offensive line here. Newly signed contract. Creed Humphrey is now the highest paid center in the NFL. What is it? 17, $18 million per season for the next 4 years after this year. Big contract. Joe Tooney will be up for a contract in the next season, I believe it is. Trey Smith is due a contract here very soon. New rookie from BYU, Kingsley Suamatia, cousin of mine. And then Juwan Taylor over there on the right hand side of the offensive line. Can he pull it together this year? Can Kingsley be the guy to protect Patrick Mahomes? We all know that there's no question about the interior offensive line, but can our tackles?
What do you mean by pull it together for Jawan Taylor? Because are you saying he's bad?
I'm saying last season wasn't very good. Last season for Juwan Taylor was not very good. He led the league in penalties. He gave up quite a few sacks. It was not a very good season for Jawan Taylor and the money that we paid him last season.
I think the most surprising thing for the offensive line for me, anyways, is undrafted rookie Ethan Driscoll made the team over Lucas Niang. That kind
I
of
did
surprised
not
me a little
realize
bit.
Lucas Niang got cut.
Yeah, he got cut. Undrafted guy. I believe he was out of Marshall of all places, and he looked good in the Senior Bowl and everything. But I haven't really seen too much for the offensive line during this offseason so far. I just knew left side we're worried about more than anything, so I was focused on that more than anything. But undrafted guy beating out a guy we drafted 2 years ago.
Well, at this point, I trust the evaluators because there was a lot of hope with Lucas Niang. There was a little bit of game film on him, and we had like a lot of promise. But never he was never plugged in. Like the nobody trusted him. No, I mean you give I don't know.
Yeah, and Sean, this was year 4 for Lucas Niang. We
Okay,
drafted him 3 years ago. He took the
set
COVID.
out the first year. Yeah,
He sat out the first year. Um, I think
Because there's other
technically he
guys
would
that
have.
have beat the like I was gonna name other names to give opportunities to on that line, but like there was other guys that beat him out that so
Yeah,
like
I'm
we just
totally
didn't.
good with Lucas Niang being
Yeah.
gone. He did not win anyone over in that room, whether he had the knowledge nor the ability. And it was a risk take in the beginning, but yeah, he just could not pan out. Offensive wise, we kept Clyde, or running back wise, we kept Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is currently going through the illness and the PTSD. Do we expect him to do anything this season? We did keep Carson Steele. We're only
Love
have
that.
I love it, but we only have three running backs on the roster, with CEH being one of them.
I think we'll eventually sign somebody else, somebody that gets cut right here at the end of all this. We may figure that out eventually later on.
Is
But
so
CEH is
is
going to get
Clyde
stuff
not
he's had
playing
recently.
because
He
of the
hasn't
stuff
done
going
anything
on?
in training camp,
Correct.
really.
He missed half of training camp, and he did not play in week 2 or week 3 of the preseason.
Is there any way we can technically keep him on the team and like not have him take up a roster spot?
You
Because
could
how
you could
long
put
do
him
you
on the
let him?
NFI
How long do
list.
you let him dick us around? Sorry if he's going through some real shitty shit right now, but you, we treat injured players like pretty shittily in the NFL, anyways. Like we need you to play, and if you don't look like maybe like second season Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're not worth a whole lot to us, especially if you're just gonna sit out.
We could put him on the NFI list, non-football injury or so. You could do that. We did cut Deneric Prince. If he clears waivers, he'll come back to the practice squad, I would assume. But yeah, I think if this continues with Clyde, we're probably going to be in for it at the running back position.
I still love the running back room, even with Clyde there. I think Carson Steele is a huge ad for us, breaking a lot of
You
tackles
think
in preseason. But we actually get a fullback back in this offense. Andy loves to utilize the full. I can just imagine uh, Carson Steele and Pacheco in the backfield on the goal line. I think this solves a lot of goal line problems
you think
right
Patrick
down there.
Mahomes is gonna take snaps under center? You think we're gonna see like power and strong eye and stuff like that?
A lot
Like
of fullback
We've seen it.
dives.
We've seen it as they get
you
into
think
the
we're gonna
red
get
zone.
that?
We
Down in
might.
the red zone, yeah.
I like that.
So
Plus, we're gonna need a guy to do those quarterback sneaks or to take the handoff with blockers from the backfield, because Patrick Mahomes isn't doing it. Travis Kelsey isn't getting any younger. Why not line up Carson Steele at quarterback and let him take the snap, run it off of Creed's butt? Why not?
He's a muscle hamster.
uh,
He's got a pet
I don't
alligator.
see a. I mean, I'm not out here trying to argue against that. I think that's a pretty good strategy, honestly. But so I earlier on in the preseason, I obviously questioned why people think Carson Steele is going to be worth anything in fantasy this year, or like he's going to see real reps on our team. But we now look at our roster going into the season, make the case for Carson Steele being the most lethal handcuff in the NFL right now.
Make the case.
Yes.
Isaiah Pacheco has missed some games over the last couple of years. They would do a running back by committee. I would
No,
say
not
that
the possibility that he plays. Like, do you like? Is he is he the best backup in the NFL right now? Just looking for a shot to shine, and he like as the lethal handcuff being like if he gets a shot, dude's gonna show out.
I would say he's up there. I would put him in the top five. You've obviously got Tyler Algier, Algier, however you want to say his name. He's there, I think, probably at that number one spot because he's a backup who's had over 1,000 yards rushing in the league. But I would say that Carson Steele does provide at least the excitement that he definitely could be. And if you haven't, especially given the way that the Chiefs have used running backs, the way that Isaiah Pacheco runs is it could be a detriment to himself. Carson Steele would be the perfect handcuff if you don't have him yet.
Pick him up, start him,
Start him.
even on the bench.
Let's quickly touch on this defense here. I know we're running long, but this is obviously our team. We get to talk a little bit longer about them. One couple things. Justin Reed injured towards the beginning of training camp and preseason. He looks ready to go week 1. Brian Cook is back. Love that. Trent McDuffie, obviously our number one corner, but we are rocking with Nazeed Johnson. actually over Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams. Very surprising,
Ooh.
especially after coming off the injury. We knew that kid was talented. We just never got to really see it because the injury took him really early. So to see him jump and be now our number two corner, that's really something. As well, another thing to look out for is probably going to be Chamari Connor, who will play kind of that slot corner or even nickelback towards safety position. Jamari Connor had a fantastic preseason. He's a guy that I really enjoy watching play because he goes full head or full steam ahead every single time.
I don't want you to forget about another undrafted rookie we got here, Christian Roland Wallace. He made the team over a lot of other big names right there,
Yep.
and Nick Jones from last year. He got hurt last year, but he's back
Yep.
this year. So I think we
Nick
have a very
Jones.
talented secondary.
There's a rookie. I thought you were going to go here, Sean, and I don't know
Oh,
how
I
much. I don't know how much preseason you guys watched.
I'm excited
Don't.
for him. I think I know
Jaden
where you're going.
Hicks
Yep.
is going to be a star in this league, Tybo. He's
He was
going
the
to
steal of the
be
draft.
a
We
star.
find them every year. We find them every year.
I could realistically seeing, and not that I would like this, because as much as I didn't like us picking up Justin Reed, because I didn't think that he was going to produce, and then he quickly changed my mind, much like George Karlaftis did. I think the Kansas City Chiefs could allow Justin Reed to walk away and allow Jaden Hicks to be our starting strong safety in the very near future. This kid is good.
Well, I mean that wouldn't be far from our old philosophy, like years old philosophy of letting older, not even like old defensive backs, but like you give them one contract, let them play it out, and you don't pay them again. That's and we let the young guys come in because we've had so much success drafting late in the draft, picking up stud defensive backs, corner, safety, doesn't matter. We you can third round and below, we're picking up just, and I mean we hit pretty nicely with Trent McDuffie in the first round too, but like we find them, and so Najee Johnson making the jump to number two. I I don't necessarily think that means Jalen Watson and Josh Williams like have digressed or
No,
regressed.
not by any means. It just means that
Like,
Nazee Johnson is that good.
and I'm that much more comfortable with the depth that we have at the cornerback position. So
Agreed.
it's like the
Where
opposite of the
we,
problem we have on the wide receiver side. Like I'm very happy with the back end of our depth chart at DB.
oh,
So
it's stacked, but where we're probably not stacked at is interior defensive line. Um, on the outsides, we still have George Karlaftis. We have Mike Dana. We brought back your boy Malik Herring, Tybo. We still have FAU, and then we even made the trade for Cam Thomas from Arizona for a seventh round pick. That does not make me feel very comfortable with the development of FAU if we're trading for another guy at his same exact position. That's
He
a
is so
little
slow off the
worrisome.
snap, man.
Maybe he can play left and right. Maybe he's actually going to be a guy who will probably see over Malik Herring. I really don't know, but that is not a good look for the development of FAU. But where we're
late first
weakest at,
rounder. Do we
yeah,
are we expecting? Are we judging this as a potential bust?
yes,
Yes,
I think
100%.
so. And that's really harsh after 1 year, but it's also really concerning that after 1 year, he didn't have a whole lot of playing time. We've got Charles Omenihu, who's on the pup list, who's going to come in and probably take that right end role, most likely. Uh, but FAU hasn't been able to take over a position there from uh, Mike Dana or Malik Herring and really solidify himself as like a role player, a guy who can come in or even a specialist on certain downs. While our main guy Charles Omenihu is out, that's very concerning. I'm leaning towards bust. I'm not there yet. I don't think anybody should be there yet, but we could definitely be leaning towards potential bust.
I mean, we were kind of spoiled with Karloftis's progression. Like visibly getting better throughout the season in his rookie season, and then the solid step up the second season. Like I feel like drafting a D end at that point in the draft, he's made our expectations pretty high, and sucks for FAU, but buddy, if you can't produce, put somebody else out there.
Is the plural of Karloftis Karlofti
Yes.
instead of Karloftises?
However you want it, honestly.
Just asking, dude. Where I wanted to go last thing on this defense here, I was talking about being weak, and outside of Chris Jones, the interior defensive line is weak. We brought back Derek Nottie, been on the team for a while. We've got Mike Pinnell and Turk Wharton, but I'm not really happy with where this interior defensive line is. We were forced to pay Chris Jones the big amount of money that he wanted because we had nobody else. And it's
Like
very hard.
who else you got, guys? Come on.
It's very hard to trust a rookie coming in on those spots. I'm very worried about this position because Chris Jones is aging. He's been able to produce. I don't think that he won't produce, but we have got to plan for life without Chris Jones destroying that interior line very soon.
Managing his snaps is going to be like the main focus of the latter part of his career, whether that's continues to be in Kansas City contract after contract or what, however it plays out. Can if he plays a bunch of snaps, can he stay healthy? Like if he's going to be that guy, if he's going to be defensive player of the year, if he's going to be like out there all the time because we have nobody else, is he going to be able to make it through a full season? How many guys in the NFL do we have to say that about? It sucks. I hate that being part of the conversation, but football's a rough sport, man, and D tackle gets the brunt of it. Like he's Aaron Donald level game breaker at his peak, and does he have that left in him? Like is he really going to be that guy again for us this season?
Over or under 11 and a half sacks for Chris Jones?
Over
By a lot, by a little?
15.
I'm going to say he's getting 17 and a half.
I'm I'm going over because I've seen that man split too many double teams even last season. So
Yep.
I,
I think we're going to see a surgence of George Karloftis this year. He had a really good rookie season. He had a really, really, really strong second year. I think we see him actually probably get more of the sacks. I'm going to say 18 plus for George Karloftis.
Ooh, damn.
that's
All
a lot of
right.
sacks.
He's going to do a spin move this
We're
year?
we're gonna be number one in sacks, Chiefs defense this year. Probably, probably
Probably.
operating
And
at the highest capacity. Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu when he gets back. This defensive line, one of the nastiest in the league. But there's not a lot of depth, which should rightfully scare everybody. So
Vegas
maybe
has the
over.
Kansas City Chiefs at 11 and a half.
Over.
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 Why even ask?
Over. That's not even a question. Like, when's the last time we haven't won 12 games? Get it out of here. Over with. Tough schedule. We start week one just around the corner. It is next week. By the time you're hearing this, it's already here. Week one is on the way. It starts September 5th. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Ravens. Thursday night football. It will be in Kansas City. And then we
Don't miss
follow
it.
up on Friday with the Sao Paulo game in Brazil. It is the
I like how you said
Packers
that.
and thank you.
With
It
the
is the Packers and
Kansas
the
accent.
Eagles.
Can you hear it one more time?
Sao Paulo.
Oh.
There you go.
We'll be back probably by the time you're hearing this. If you're hearing it earlier in this, we'll see you back next week as we break down pre games for the Chiefs and the rest of the NFL. Until next time. Go Chiefs.
Go
Go
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Three Peat.